Hey everyone, it's Alysa in Guangzhou, and today is the story of how I got my driver's license in China from scratch. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. I grew up in China, so I do not have any license from my own country, and I know nothing about driving. If you're about to do the same, keep watching and I'll take you along on the journey.
我这段时间在准备学我的驾照。我是一个20几岁的从来没有开车的女孩。我经常会想，如果我在美国，生活在美国领了那个驾驶证，我可能是已经有10年的车龄。但是呢，我没有。所以呢
This whole journey started in 2021 when I decided it was time to get my life together. I went on the Chinese app 大众点评 and searched for driving schools near me. I asked around if they take foreign students and then exchange WeChats with the coach for further information. Okay, the part that you are all waiting for. Signing up, what do you need? I'll put the whole list here. You can just take a screenshot and then go over them one by one. 2 really important things on this list is your passport, translation, and notarization that includes your Chinese name. Chinese driver's licenses don't take any foreign names. You must have a Chinese name. So hopefully you've already picked one that you're comfortable with. And when you do go to get your passport translated and notarized, make sure you put your Chinese name on there. Secondly is a driver's license health checkup. This is a very specific health checkup, and when I went to do it, they also asked me for my Chinese name. So make sure that you have that before you go to get that checkup. You may also be wondering, how much is it going to cost you to get your driver's license? Every city is different, so I can only share my own personal experience. I paid around $5,500. I think that's a bit on the higher end, but it included all the tests from the testing center as well as mock tests and makeup tests in case I didn't make it. I think the most important thing when signing up is be very clear what your package offers so that you don't end up having to pay for it again later on. Secondly, make sure that you choose a driving school that's nearby so you're not going to be wasting a lot of time and money on DD trips. You're going to be heading there for multiple lessons. The nearer it is to your place, the better. Okay, now it's time for your first test, subject 1, or 科目一. You're on your own for this one. It's a self-study test that you can take in English or Chinese. I decided to go with the Chinese test because I wasn't sure if I could decipher the strangely translated English questions, as the content itself is already confusing. Subject 1 is the theory test of 100 questions, ranging in difficulty, going over traffic rules, driving etiquette, traffic signs, what to do in emergency situations, etc., etc. You will be needing these apps to practice. If you're taking the test in Chinese, use this app to practice. If you're taking in English, you can choose from these 2, or you can use the website. There are over 1,700 practice questions, and my driving school recommended that I keep taking the mock test in the app until I could get 90% or more 10 times. But I was busy with work, so I wasn't taking a lot of time to practice the test. Finally, I just asked the driving school to book my test so I'd be pushed to practice. Eventually, I was getting about 70% for every mock test, but I decided to go to the test anyway. So I just got back from taking the subject 1 test this morning, and there was tons of people there just going crazy, and ran to the bathroom, got a bottle of water from an ATM, and then found the cabinets to check my stuff in. So you're supposed to put everything in the cabinet. If you have like an Apple Watch or any kind of smartwatch, definitely you need to put that in the cabinet as well. And your phone, just take your ID, nothing else with you to the testing center. There's tons of people there. Guangzhou is like that. Inside, the guy has a scanner, checks you to see if you have anything on you. Then you go inside the testing room. So in the testing room, there's just like tons of computers and like little booths, little cubicles. And they take your ID, they check it out, they give you the assigned seat. You go and you see your name on the screen, your photo on the screen, and you confirm it, and then you get started on the test. So for subject 1, they give you 40 minutes to do 100 questions that are basically randomly picked from 1,700 plus questions. If you don't get 90 out of 100, you do have a second chance to do it right after. I did notice that the questions were divided into what seemed to be increasingly harder questions. At the beginning, it was just like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I felt it was super easy. And I got too cocky, too confident. Then I got to the harder questions, the ABCD, multiple answer questions. And I was really confident. I'm like, wow, I'm going to get 99 or I'm going to get 97 out of this test. And then that's where everything started going wrong. I had 10 wrong answers, and I was on question number 99. And I was like, if I get this wrong, I have to do it again. How could I get here? And I pondered on it. The guard came by and she was like, take your time. I clicked. It was wrong. My legs were shaky. I was like, oh, that's so frustrating. And then I went with my ID and then they said, okay, you're ready for the second try. Go ahead. Went to a new cubicle, new booth, sat down, got started. If there's some questions that I wasn't 100% confident about, I could just leave them, come back a bit later. And then I left 3 questions that I wasn't really sure about, finished all the rest. I had gotten 7 wrong. So I felt quite relieved. If I get these 3 wrong, that's okay, because I will only have 10 wrong. That means that I'll have 90 correct and I can still pass. So I did those last 3. They were all right. I finished with a score of 93 out of 100. So then they take your ID, you sign this, you have a digital signature thing, you're good to go. Yeah, that's how Subject 1 testing is. Subject 2 test. For Subject 2, there are 4 maneuver moves you have to master. Parallel parking, S-bend, reverse parking, and a tight corner turn. There used to be one called Stop on a Hill, but by the time I took it, we didn't have to do that one anymore. For this test, I had to take so many simulation classes before I was allowed in a real car. I was itching to get my hands on a wheel, but I had to book classes a day in advance with my coach, just so I could play what may look like video games. I took about 7 classes, 7 hours of these simulations, and then passed the simulation test. Finally, it was time to get behind the wheel. For Subject 2, the whole time I didn't even have to step on the gas. The cars are automated to go on their own very slowly, so I just had to control the brakes. At the driving school, I had a different instructor for every subject. And for Subject 2 and 3, they're supposed to guide you through every step of the way, especially supposed to teach you some hints and tricks for how to get good positioning. That may involve using marks on the dashboard or the rearview mirror, stuff like that. The instructor told me people usually pass these after 6 to 8 lessons. I took only 4 or 5 because I didn't have that much time. I was in the hospital during that time. When my trainer said that I was ready, I went and I made an appointment with the customer service for the test. There was also the option to take a mock test before you take the actual test, and it's like the same kind of car and the same kind of training grounds, so that you feel super confident before taking the test. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And they're like, everyone please pay for your mock test. It's 300 something RMB. And I was like, wait, no, I already paid for that when I signed the contract. There was like a section there and I already paid for that. You're not gonna make me pay again, are you? So it's good that I caught that. Always keep your contract and check what you have in it, because if I had forgotten or if I didn't say that to them, they would have totally let me just pay all over again. So I'm coming to the practice location. It's like in the middle of nowhere. And I just saw a sign, it said go to the 2nd floor. So I'm just going up this slope. I have no idea if it's the right place or not. But I called the guy and he said, yeah, come up. So let's see what happens. Because my package included the mock test, when I arrived on the testing ground site, I got to do the whole thing on an identical site. Me and 2 other girls were in the car with an instructor and took turns for about an hour each. So I got to go over the whole mock test about 4 times within that hour. Then I went in for my Subject 2 test and scored 100. Yay! Subject 3. Subject 3 is the road test. You'll be tested on your knowledge of light signals and will be on a real road with real cars and real people and real traffic lights. So I've already taken Kumui and Kumu-R, and it turns out there are some fees that I did not know about before signing up. They say like no invisible fees, blah, blah, blah. I just paid some more money for the 3rd test, some kind of practice video or something that I need to watch. And I was just like, wow, even this is gonna cost me money. It's not the money that's a big deal, but just you feel like people are trying to make money off of you, that kind of way. Probably the most frustrating part for me of all of the tests that I've taken, because for the 3rd test, I wasn't able to book it in a location near me. And they expect me to come practice for 3 days before the test and come for 3 hours each day, which I'm working and all that. And the thing is, they expect you to sit in the car for 3 hours with 3 other people and watch them practice, and then you practice, then watch them practice, and then you practice. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Let me come at 1 p.m., do it for an hour and leave. I'm not gonna stay for 3 hours.
在5秒内做出相应的灯光操作，将要进行夜间行驶，请打开前照灯。夜间通过有信号灯路口。
信号灯路口。
不用打。
哦。
夜间超越前方车辆。
超越就关掉。
不是，
嗯，对，就拍我开车的样子。因为我要拍一个视频，就是叫外国。
I was told to watch a really long video which would go over the test components, but it wasn't very helpful and I decided to wait until having real practice on the road. Make sure that your coach is actually taking you step by step through each part of the test and going on the actual testing ground. The first coach I got just took me in circles and I got really good at swerving and driving around, but had no clue on the little details I would be tested on.
是了一个小妹妹，然后我们等着我们的排队的时间，然后所以我们就买了一个午餐，把这个桌子擦了干净，准备开动了。你还那个好好学习。有一些人刚来的我可以理解，但是有一些人。So I came at around 10 a.m. this morning to take a mock test, and after the mock test, I waited around for a few hours, and I'm waiting to take my exam at 1, but it's 2 now, and we still haven't got in. So, driving test number 3, how'd it go? Well, I failed.
So after 3 sessions, I went to the test and I totally failed, and I had no idea what I had even failed on.
That was pretty disappointing because I've had a pretty smooth road up until now with my driving test thing. I told the center that I want to change instructors because that one he really did not give me what I need for the test. I need to wait 10 days before I apply again for taking this test a second time. So we'll see how that goes.
I was really disappointed that the previous coach didn't teach me anything I needed to know. I could have requested for another coach from the center, but I was anxious to have my test ASAP with a coach that I knew could help me. I had come across a driving coach on Douyin who makes detailed videos about the whole route that I was going to be taking in Guangzhou, and I DM'd him and asked him to coach me instead. I had about 2 sessions with him. I think I paid 200 RMB for each session. He explained to me every step, where I'll need to park, what the examiners are going to be watching out for, and he really got me ready to actually take the test. And after those 2 sessions, I went and I took the test and I got 100. Yes! Subject 4, another theory test. Right now, I'm preparing for the 4th test. I've been so focused on the 3rd test that I completely forgot to go through the problems for the 4th test. And they're a bit more complicated than I was expecting. I had to watch enough hours of content before I was allowed to sign up for the 3rd and 4th test at the same time. The theory and etiquette questions could also be practiced in the app. I didn't spend too much time practicing, went in and I got 94 for this test. Then we went to another room for a little speech and I was expecting we had to make some kind of vow or promise to be a good driver. But instead we just listened and scanned the QR code on our tests to fill out our delivery addresses. I finally passed everything. I'm so excited because actually I felt really unprepared for the 4th test, but it was easier than I thought and I passed. There's an option to get an international driver's license, so basically you get your Chinese one translated. All we had to do was just tick a box before we left, and now we're going to be getting an international one along with that, so then we can be driving in a lot of other countries as well. Finally, the journey has finished. From the first Subject 1 test in August to receiving my driver's license delivered on December 31st, I am now ready to legally drive. Anyway, good luck to you all, stay safe, wishing you pass all your tests the first time and get your license and confidently get on the road as soon as possible. Best wishes, 加油! If you'd like to see more content about living in China, Guangzhou life, or what it's been like to grow up here, make sure that you subscribe and follow along for more of my journeys. And I'll see you next time. Bye!